So after months of nagging, you have finally started learning to code. You get up every day, grab your notebook and your special coding keyboard, fire up the playlist on YouTube, start writing code and start learning, and you realize how boring it gets and the fact that you still cannot print a star pattern on C++. And how much have you learned by watching 5 hours of tutorials every day anyway? Should you grab a book instead or buy a course or just drop the idea altogether? Don't do that. What if I tell you this seemingly excruciating process can be made a little bit fun and a lot faster? Not as fun as your favorite video games, probably, but definitely a lot more fun than watching 3 hours of tutorial and just making notes. So buckle up, because in today's video we're gonna talk about 5 ways to make your coding journey a lot faster and a little more fun. Watching long tutorials is not fun, I get it. So let me give you an idea to build something. Me being a very creative and curious person, I used to look for things to build whenever I was learning to code. And it's a very good idea to start before you think you're ready, because you will never think you're ready. So as soon as you know the basic fundamentals, the absolute fundamentals of coding, like what are variables, loops and functions, as soon as you know these things, go build something. No matter how simple the project is, you will learn a lot of things. Let me tell you what building a project and this project-based approach does to your coding. First thing, you will learn to code a lot faster. Secondly, you will face a lot of new problems that are not mentioned in the tutorials. And third thing, you will learn to deconstruct and reverse engineer every problem that you face in your life, and especially in your coding journey. How does this work? Let me tell you. You might often see yourself learning something and wondering about, why am I learning this? This lack of purpose causes you to lose motivation and eventually give up. But if you go on a project-based approach and reverse engineer things, then you learn only when you need to learn something. You will go and learn how to make API calls when there is an actual project that you're working on that needs API calls. So when you're learning API calls, you know exactly where it is going to be applied. You have a very clear goal in mind, and that makes a huge difference when you're learning to code, and it also keeps you motivated. But keep in mind, for this project-based approach to work, you have to first initially invest some amount of time to understand the fundamentals through and through. You have to be very clear with your basics. Otherwise, the advanced topics are going to be very hard to grasp in a very short period of time. Second on the list is to collaborate. You might have seen this, you might have felt this, that when you have 5 more people studying around you, it is much easier to motivate yourself to studying. Well, you can use the same principle when you're coding as well. If you're in college, go find other people who are learning to code. You can even go join the coding club or the coding society that is in your college. And if that is not available to you, you can go online. There are multiple communities and forums where you will find millions of people who are also beginners and learning to code. You can also double down on this idea by getting yourself an accountability buddy. What isn't an accountability buddy? There is basically 2 people who keep each other accountable and talk about their progress, share their mistakes, share their lessons, so you can essentially learn at 2x the speed. And secondly, you will always keep yourself motivated because there is someone else working right beside you who is learning the same thing as well. So if you can, go online to some forum or in your college and find yourself an accountability buddy who would want to learn with you. Well, if you're talking about making our coding journey a little more fun, Coding Bootcamps is a gemstone. It is a very amazing platform where hundreds or thousands of coders come together, form teams and compete against each other to build something or to solve a particular problem statement. And what better way to learn than to collaborate with other people and also to compete with other teams? I have been to a very handful amount of coding bootcamps in my life, but I can tell you it is a very crucial learning experience for everyone involved. So be it online or be it offline, contests and bootcamps are your best friends. So go attend as many as possible. Let's face it, in our coding journey, at some point or the other, we're going to be using some kind of coding platform or website. Very honestly, some of them are very flat and boring. But a few of them like HackerRank and LeetCode are very interesting, which have like very personalized trackers, clear goals to keep you motivated, and even streaks like GitHub does. So that is why before choosing a particular platform, it is very good to look at its competitors and test all of them out and then choosing your favorite platform. But platform might not be the problem. The problem you might be facing is structure and the roadmap. But if your problem is structure and roadmap, you might go and buy an online coding course that will give you a very structured and very limited amount of syllabus, but it will also probably give you a very limited amount of time to finish it. If that works well for you, go ahead and do that. But let me be honest with you, it can get really boring sometimes. It can get very redundant and disheartening when you're facing like 20 errors in 20 lines of code. It does get there sometimes. It does get very disheartening sometimes, and to that I'm telling you that every good coder that is to exist in this world today, they have gone through millions of bugs and problems in their coding journey. When you finally land a coding job and go into the industry, or you work as a freelancer, you will realize that one of the biggest skill and probably the 60% of your time goes into debugging your code, that is finding problems and solving problems and bugs. So if you are facing problems right now, I think you should look at it in a positive way. If you are facing more problems, you are learning to solve more problems and more bugs. You are basically building your debugging capability, which is very essential to become a good developer or a good programmer in the long run. And even after implementing all of this, you will face some days when you're just not able to code. It is getting very boring. It's okay. Get some fresh air, go outside and take the day off. Start again next day with a very fresh mindset. And keep an eye out for the next video that is coming. That will be all about the main websites and tools that can be used to propel your coding journey to the next level.